Have you ever been in a moment where life felt completely out of control, like you were standing in the middle of a storm with no umbrella, no shelter, and no idea which way to run? Yeah, me too. Life can sometimes feel like that one group project in school where nobody knows what they're doing. But somehow, it's all still due tomorrow. In those moments, we all long for one thing: safety. A place of peace. A set of arms strong enough to hold us when we can't hold ourselves up. And that's what today's message is all about: being safe in His arms. Psalm 23 begins with these words we've all heard 1,000 times: "The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want." Now, let's pause right there. It's so familiar that we almost skip over it. But if you think about it, this is not just poetry, it's a declaration of trust. David, the shepherd turned king, is saying, because God is leading me, I lack nothing. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I lack everything. You ever open the fridge and stare at it like it personally betrayed you? Empty shelves, no leftovers, and suddenly you're asking deep existential questions like, Lord, why have you forsaken me? And why did I not buy snacks when I had the chance? But David isn't talking about snacks, he's talking about soul-level satisfaction. The kind of peace that says, even if I don't have everything I want, I have everything I need because I have Him. And that brings us to the heart of this message, the Good Shepherd. Jesus picks up on David's words in John 10 and says something mind-blowing: I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Now let's be real, sheep are not exactly inspiring creatures. They're not fast like cheetahs. They're not majestic like lions. And they definitely don't make it onto motivational posters. Sheep are well helpless. They wander off, get lost, and sometimes even tip over and can't get back up. And Jesus says, yep, that's you guys, and I love you anyway. Isn't that wild? The creator of the universe isn't embarrassed to call Himself our shepherd. He doesn't roll His eyes when we mess up. He doesn't say, ugh, not this sheep again. Instead, He says, you belong to me, and I'll lay down my life to keep you safe. Let me tell you a quick story. Years ago, I used to think of God as this distant, angry authority figure, the kind of God who was keeping score of all my mistakes, wanting to drop the hammer the moment I slipped up. Honestly, I lived in fear, thinking, if I mess up today, maybe God will let something bad happen tomorrow. Maybe you felt that way too. But here's what broke that cycle for me: realizing that if God wanted to punish me, He wouldn't have punished Jesus on the cross. The cross is proof that He's not out to get me, He's out to save me. That's what it means to be safe in His arms. Not safe from every problem, not safe from every trial, but safe in His presence. Because His arms don't let go. Think about a child running to their parent after scraping their knee. The parent can't always prevent the fall, but their embrace makes the pain bearable. That's what God does with us. He doesn't promise a life without storms, but He promises to hold us through them. Let's get practical for a moment. How do we actually live like we're safe in His arms? Because it's easy to quote Psalm 23, but harder to feel it when bills are piling up, relationships are breaking down, or anxiety is keeping us awake at night. Here are 3 simple truths I keep coming back to. First, remember His presence. David said, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Notice he didn't say, I will fear no evil because I'm strong enough. No, his confidence was rooted in the shepherd's presence. And that's where ours should be too. Second, trust His provision. Sheep don't worry about where their next meal comes from, the shepherd does. When David says, He makes me lie down in green pastures, He leads me beside quiet waters, he's reminding us that God provides what we need. It may not always be what we want, but it's always what's best. Third, rest in His protection. Jesus says in John 10 that no one can snatch us out of his hand. Think about that. The same hands that shaped the stars are the hands holding you. And last I checked, nobody is strong enough to pry open God's grip. Now, I know someone's thinking, that all sounds great, but what about when life falls apart? Or unanswered prayers? That's a fair question. Being safe in his arms doesn't mean a pain-free life. It means that even in pain, you're not abandoned. It means that suffering doesn't have the final word. Jesus does, and his word is life. Here's the beautiful thing. David wrote Psalm 23 before Jesus even came. He was looking forward in faith. But we get to look back at the cross and see the proof. The Good Shepherd didn't just talk about laying down his life, he actually did it. That's the ultimate safety, eternal safety. Because no matter what happens in this life, nothing can separate us from his love. And honestly, that changes how we live right now. When you know you're safe in his arms, you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to chase the approval of people. You don't have to panic when the future looks uncertain. Because your shepherd is bigger than the valley, stronger than the storm, and more faithful than your doubts. Let me put it this way. Imagine holding a fragile glass ornament. You'd hold it carefully, right? You wouldn't toss it around or let it slip. That's how God holds you, but infinitely more secure. You're not just an ornament, you're his child, and his grip is unshakable. So today, maybe you feel like life is spinning out of control. Maybe you feel like one of those sheep that wandered off and now you're stuck in a ditch. Can I tell you something? The shepherd is already on his way. He's not waiting for you to climb out. He's not waiting for you to get it all together. He's coming for you, because his arms are the safest place you'll ever be. And that's where I want to leave you with that image. Safe, secure, held. Not because you're strong enough to cling to him, but because he is strong enough to never let go of you. If this encouraged you today, I want to invite you to do two things. First, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future videos that will help you grow in your faith and draw closer to Jesus. And second, watch the next video on the end screen. It's all about learning how to trust God even when life feels uncertain. I believe it will bless you just as much as this one. So remember, no matter what valley you're walking through, you are safe in his arms.